Hey, hello everybody. I know that it's been a long time since I put out my last video, but I'm excited to talk to you today about Big Bend National Park down in southwest Texas. We had a great time. You're looking at some of the pictures right now that we took, and it was just otherworldly compared to what we're used to here in Alabama, and we had a blast, and I got some good flights in. Going to show you one of those flights, and I hope you enjoy it. But yeah, good to see you guys again. Glad you're watching and hope you enjoy the video. Thanks so much for joining us. God bless. All right, so we're in Terlingua, Texas, which is in Big Bend, right beside Big Bend National Park. And we've just spent the night over there in room 6. Anyway, it's a beautiful place. As you can see, we're going to be heading out into the mountains today there. And it ought to be a lot of fun. So we'll see what happens. But this evening, it looks like it's going to be good flying weather. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, let's go. So we're here at Big Bend National Park, Rio Grande Wild and Scenic River, U.S. Biosphere Reserve. And we just saw some folks here. You can see that it's really quite pretty. And then there's just rows and rows of rocks and things, and a great deal of mountain. So we've arrived at St. Helena Canyon, which is right there. And that, I think, on that side over there would be, that wall would be Mexico. So the Rio Grande River runs right down that way there, at the base of the cliff, and then through that gorge there. Well, hi everybody. This was my flight and it was absolutely fantastic. I thought everything was neat, but one bad thing was that the camera that you're seeing right now was tilted down just a little bit too much. Fortunately, for a portion of the flight I had my 360 camera going, so we'll use that for some footage. But it's not very long, but I thought it was really otherworldly and it was really enjoyable. The sun was bright, the sky was blue, and the landscape was so different from what I'm used to. You know, in a way, it felt a bit like a moonscape. As you look at this area right here, it just made me think of the moon. But it was a very relaxing flight. I wish somehow the sun wouldn't have been there, because that section was really pretty as well. Or looking at it from that direction, I could shield my eyes and see that. Of course, that doesn't take place in the camera. Now, the thing about this flight was, it was not home. So believe it or not, as quiet as it was, there was a little bit of wind, not too much. It was really pretty nice, but nevertheless, not being at home, not being in familiar surroundings, not having a four-wheeler for my wife Martha to come and get me, it was a little bit, there was some anxiety on this flight, and you wouldn't know it from looking at the footage. It was, just perfectly serene, but I was a little bit anxious there, and even though I felt that way, I enjoyed it. Take a look at that. Look at that drainage area. Do you see that? As before it turned, here it is again. It looks like a huge tree or with branches, and I just thought that was really neat. And somewhere in here, I'm going to do a close-up of that. But there's just huge swaths of land where there wasn't anything because of things like that. Now, this is going into that section where I was talking about a moment ago, where it was really pretty. There were a lot of colors in here, and it was a little harder to see with the sun coming right at it, but it was really pretty. And people had built their homes, or at least cabins and things, up in those hills as far as they could. But you can see that water defined this place. It cut right through there and took out whatever was on the other side of those formations there. And so I flew around. I had a good time, and after a while, I thought, well, you know what? I want to head on out of here and go over to another location to fly a bit. And so I noticed off to my left from this video at this point, off to my left is a school, a local school. So I decided, well, hey, before I get there, look at this. This was really, really pretty. It kind of made me think, I don't know, of a cattle drive and what would be, out west. They're driving the cattle through that area right there. And of course, they have great control. But here it is. Here's the school. And I came in there and that track was just begging to me, And so at this point, I'm switching over to my head cam, which is, like I say, angled too far down. But I just had to see if I could make it around this track here, and so that's exactly what I did. And as I swing around the corner here, you'll see the shadow of me kind of floating across from left to right. But it was a lot of fun. I really had a kick out of this. I think I went around a couple times. I only put one in the video, but yeah, it was really neat. And so I kicked up and went on around and said hello. I think they were having a bake sale down there and they were selling things, and that was kind of neat. So at this point, we're going back over to the mountains, and the reason we're going over there is because at this point in the flight, I had begun to relax, and at this point, more than any other, it really felt serene. I was just flying along, enjoying myself, and it's getting near the end of the flight, so I think I turned around from here and went back. But I hope you can kind of feel it with me. That when you're flying on a paramotor, you're out there and you're relaxed, and it's just fun. So I came up to this hill, and I get up to the point where you can look down the other side of the mountain there, and at that point, right about that point, I begin to feel the wind that is coming off of that thing, a little bit of wind, and so I headed out of there and decided that it was probably time to get on home, and so I turned around and decided that's exactly what I would do. This was a really enjoyable trip, and if I could go again, obviously I'd have the microphone working so that I'd have some sound from the trip, but it was really enjoyable. And the thing about it was that I don't think I'll ever forget this landscape. It was so different. It was so just remarkable. See, I told you I'd have another close-up of that. It's really just neat, I think. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and land here, and this landing actually looks a little bit harder than you might think. You see the wire there? See the telephone poles? So I came around, a couple of times. This is my last time, obviously, but I had to come low enough to those wires so they didn't go on too far and overshoot my landing area. So it finally worked out. I got low enough without hitting the wires, and then I came to an abrupt stop with that bush there. And then my wife, this is her perspective. But I had a great time. I've got some other videos from the trip. I think you'll enjoy them. Just got to knuckle down and put them together. But I hope you enjoyed the flight, because I certainly did. And I wish you all the best. God bless and take care. Bye-bye.